Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Jenna Weber, and I'm really excited to share some improvements we are implementing to enhance Premier University's information security program, particularly in the light of the data breach incident we experienced 6 months ago. So, to provide some context, Premier University faced a significant challenge when a data breach exposed sensitive information that belonged to approximately 5,000 former students. This breach occurred when a staff member left their laptop unattended, which led to it being stolen. This laptop contained personally identifiable information, including students' social security numbers, credit card details. The incident revealed a lot of critical weaknesses in our data protection measures and incident response capabilities, which ultimately prompted us to reassess and improve our security protocols. So today I'm going to outline the identified security gaps that we have, propose solutions to them, and discuss the necessary steps that need to be taken to strengthen our information security framework. So let's go over a little overview of this project. Let's start by examining the breach itself. So when the laptop was stolen, it took Premier University 90 days to realize that there was sensitive information stored on that laptop. And then it took another additional 30 days to notify any of the affected students, which resulted in a total of 120 days before any communication was made. This delay not only compromised the personal security of our students, but it also diminished their trust in our institution. The fallout of this was significant because the university faced reputational damages, and there was also a potential decline in alumni support and donations. So moving forward, it is imperative that we address these failures to prevent future reoccurrences. There are three primary weaknesses that emerged from this incident. The first one is the lack of a incident response plan. Without a predefined incident response strategy, our response was very slow and disorganized. So this situation not only delayed our ability to identify the breach, but it also hindered our communication with the affected students. The second thing is an inadequate password protection. So faculty laptops are not secured with password protection, which means that the sensitive data that is held within the device is exposed to anyone with unauthorized access. In today's environment and the evolving threats that are happening, password protection is a basic fundamental security measure that cannot be overlooked anymore. The third thing is absence of data encryption. So this means that sensitive data was stored in an unencrypted format. This means that anyone can read the data. So this lack of encryption made it easier for the person who stole the laptop to misuse the information contained in the stolen laptop. Now, let's discuss some solutions. The first solution is implementing a better incident response plan. We need to develop a comprehensive incident response framework. And within this framework, it will be defined roles and responsibilities to ensure that everyone knows their part in the event of this data breach or any other threat happening again. So the three key roles will be an incident manager, a technology manager, and a communications manager. The incident manager is a person who leads the response efforts. They help manage the communication between different departments or between um, other people, basically. And they also delegate the tasks to who does what. The second manager is the technology manager. This involves IT specialists who help solve any of these technical threats. And finally, the third manager is the communications manager. This person will handle external communications to either stakeholders or to the students or whoever is affected outside of the institution to maintain transparency throughout the case of an event and minimize any confusion that may come along with it. We will also conduct regular training for the incident response team. And this will include some type of simulation that acts out various scenarios that will help them prepare for these real life incidents. Um, Password protection is super important. It's essential for all faculty and staff laptops to have a secured password protection. And our policy will mandate a strong, complex password, which includes a mixture of characters. So, for example, an easy password would be Premier University 123. But we can't have passwords like that. It is super easy to hack and figure out. So we'll be mandating stronger passwords. And furthermore, we will also be implementing multi-factor authentication as an additional security layer. So this ensures that even if a password is compromised, that unauthorized users cannot gain access without additional verification. And this additional verification normally is either through an app or through a password protection key, or just something else that makes sure that you're not an authorized user and you are who you say you are. And this policy will be enforced through the university's IT department to ensure that we're in compliance and that the faculty is in compliance before anyone can access their devices. The next thing I want to go over is data encryption. So this is a very crucial aspect for safeguarding sensitive information. Encryption transforms data into an unreadable format. So this makes it only accessible with a decryption key. And this helps mitigate any risks associated with unencrypted data and we'll implement this policy to have our laptops require full disk encryption on all university-owned laptops. So this will protect all of the data on the devices in case they're lost or stolen. And the IT department will help install and configure an encryption software to ensure that all the sensitive data, including the personal identifiable information and financial records, to be protected. The next thing I want to go over, and because it is a significant issue that we faced, is improved notification system. So we had a huge delay in notifying the affected students. If we remember back, it was in total 120 days, which is not good at all. And we cannot allow this to happen again. Therefore, we will implement a real-time security automation system. This means it will notify students or the individuals or whoever it is that is affected promptly in the event of another threat or data breach. And this system will utilize many communication channels. It's not only going to be an email, it may be a text, and it may be a dedicated web portal. It's whatever you really want to sign up for. And this is put into place to inform the individuals that were affected. And for example, University of Minnesota, which effectively communicated with their stakeholders post-breach, did it through a dedicated website. And that website was able to outline what exactly happened and to provide resources and support for those who were directly impacted. One thing that we need to be in compliance with is the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act. So what is this and how does it affect us? The Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act mandates that educational institutions protect student financial aid and data. Premier University must adhere to several key requirements under the GLBA. The first one is risk assessment and management. So this means we have to regularly evaluate the vulnerabilities in our information systems and prioritize the resources to address the identified risks. The second thing is a comprehensive information security program. We need to establish some form of written information security program that outlines our security measures and our risk management strategies. So if we think back, our risk management strategy was not, it was very disorganized. So we have to write out a plan that states what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. The third thing is employee training and management. We need to have ongoing training for employees who handle the sensitive information because it is very critical to establish annual training sessions to keep the staff up to date with either new threats or the best security practices that attack these threats. The fourth thing is a designation of a security officer. The security officer is someone who's can ensure oversight of our information security program, and they also make sure that we're in compliance with this act. The fifth thing is testing and monitoring of controls. So we need to implement some sort of automated and manual testing of our systems because this will help us detect unauthorized access better and any potential threats without not seeing it right up front. So this automated program really will go through and catch all the behind the scenes threats. And finally, the sixth thing is service provider oversight. It's very crucial that our third-party vendors comply with our security standards. So we need to regularly review their practices to ensure that they're also adhering to the GLBA requirements. So what is the importance of these safeguards? Implementing these safeguards is super vital for several reasons. First, they're able to protect the privacy of our students' sensitive information, which is our number one priority. Failure to safeguard this data can lead to identity theft for the students, financial fraud, and severe reputational damage to our university. The second thing is compliance with the GLBA is not an option. It is a legal obligation. Non-compliance with GLBA can lead to severe consequences. This includes suspension of federal student aid programs, which is super important to our students. And then finally, the implementation of these safeguards is crucial for restoring the trust among our students and alumni. Now, if you remember, it was kind of broken. We've had a decrease in donations. So by demonstrating our commitment to protecting their information, we're able to foster a continued support and engagement, hopefully, with these alumni and students. Now, in order to do all of this, we need to implement these programs and these steps. So I wanted to outline the ease and difficulty of this by kind of a stoplight example. So red means that it's hard, yellow means that it's medium, and green means that it's easy. So our hard examples are employee training and service provider oversight. Service provider oversight poses more of a challenge because it requires comprehensive legal coordination to ensure compliance. And if you think back to this, this is our designated security officer. So it might be quite hard. And then employee training is also hard because it can be time consuming to execute it effectively. What we have in our medium area is data encryption. Implementing encryption is medium difficulty because it requires technical expertise and infrastructure investment, which if we have enough for a budget, it's great. It should go easy, but if not, we might have to come up with that money. And then in our easy category, our green category is incident response plan and password protection. So the incident response plan is easy because the need for training and interdepartmental coordination is essential and necessary, and it cannot be overlooked. And then password protection is relatively easy because it can be enforced with minimal disruption to our day-to-day operations. The next thing I want to talk about is security awareness training. I mean, cybersecurity at Premier University is super, super important, and safeguarding the sensitive information that we talked about isn't just a IT problem, but it's a responsibility that falls on everyone within Premier University. I think that higher education institutions, well, I don't think, but higher education institutes are frequent targets of cyber criminals. So universities like ours collect and store vast amounts of sensitive data, and such as social security numbers, student financial records, health information, intellectual property, and even more, which makes us very vulnerable to attacks such as ransomware, phishing attacks, and data threat. So one major risk we face is phishing attacks. And according to EDUCAUSE, 30% of cyber attacks on higher education last year were tied to phishing campaigns. So these attacks are target unsuspecting staff members who might click on malicious links through an email or open dangerous attachments, which is why faculty and staff training is super important. They're often the first line of defense against these threats. But the issue is without proper training, many of the faculty and staff are unaware of what these attempts look like and how to respond to them. Another thing that is super important with security awareness training is federal compliance. The GLBA requires that all higher education institutions safeguard student financial aid. So this means that if we don't implement this training, we run into the risk of non-compliance, which like we said before, can really hinder our federal funding or create audits or just negatively impact our institution. And if you're wondering, like, oh wow, like this must cost a lot of money, I want to emphasize that the cost of security awareness training is is far greater than the cost. The cost of implementing this training is far less expensive than the cost of a data breach or malware attack or anything that is a threat to our institution. A 2023 report from IBM said that the cost of a data breach in an educational sector is $4.79 million. And this cost is related to lost revenue, legal fees, damage to our reputation, and more. So in comparison, training programs are relatively inexpensive. We could start with a simple 1-hour training session and then follow up with periodic updates. And this would be a proactive investment that could help prevent future breaches and avoid financial fallout. This also will help enhance our reputation. Students and their families are increasingly concerned about the security of their data. So by implementing mandatory training, we position Premier University as a leader in data protection. And we can also include this in our marketing and our communications with potential students, parents, and external stakeholders. It strengthens our relationship with regulatory bodies, and many of these agencies now require proof of data security practices in place. And finally, I just want to really emphasize the importance of it by giving you a little data fact that 80% of higher education institutions now mandate security awareness programs for faculty and staff. And these programs have led to reductions in security incidents, particularly in phishing attacks. And schools that haven't implemented these programs see a steady increase in incidents per year. So the bottom line is that security awareness training is not an option, and it is something that we need to require and implement immediately. In conclusion, addressing these security weaknesses and implementing the proposed safeguards is essential for protecting our students' sensitive data and ensuring that we are in compliance with the GLBA. Premier University must take these proactive steps to secure financial information and restore the trust within our community. With the correct resources and planning, we can help strengthen our information security posture and prevent any future incidents. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to answering any questions and the implementation of these practices.